Hey, what's up? My name is Jose Duncan Jr., and I would like to welcome you to the Unnatural Born Leader podcast. Hey, what's up? Welcome to episode 44 of the Unnatural Born Leader podcast. Man, let me start by saying sorry to all my listeners. I'm going through one of those transitions in life. Thank God, knock on wood, there's nothing, medical or a death in the family or anything like that going on, any emotional of negativity going on, but rather I'm going through some really positive changes in my life that still produces stress. So it's been a weird month of May. I know it's been almost a month now since the last time I recorded. So, just want to apologize for being away for so long. My partner, my girlfriend, is finally moving in with me. We're getting a place together June 1st of 2021. So since the confirmation of that, I've been really trying to work hard just to get things set up for her, for us, and for our relationship moving forward. And it's requiring a lot more energy and intention than I thought. I didn't think it would be an easy transition, but not being able to really make time for the podcast, really make time for other things that have been important prior to me knowing knowing that she's coming to New York has been tough. So just want to apologize for that, and it's been taking up a lot of my time. So I feel very awful that I haven't got a chance to record an episode, but you know, changing locations and moving forward with relationships and those transitions in life is a lot what I speak about. I feel like honestly that alone, the transitions part, is something that I speak about quite often, and I spoke about in my book as well, which is still available on Amazon. Shouts out to everyone who has gotten a copy of The Greatest Fight Within, How to Overcome Disappointment While Living with High Expectations. So in that book, I spoke a lot about those transitions in life, and I'm actually going through one myself right now. So just reflected on the words I wrote and seeing what life is like down for me makes it all make sense. But I'm glad to be back and still going through that transition with my girlfriend, and hopefully everything goes smoothly with the moving and getting her transition to being with me in New York. I'm very excited, and I hope to continue to share, the wisdom, hopefully more relationship wisdom as we're going to be together a lot more. But I'm excited, and excitement and enthusiasm still brings stress. It's crazy. It's really crazy to think about it sometimes that all the stress we feel doesn't have to be negative. And it's amazing to think about it now of all the stress I've been feeling these last 3 to 4 weeks, and it's all been positive stress, but nevertheless, it has been stressful. So don't want to downgrade that the stress is real, and been finding ways to cope with it. So want to get into this episode. I know that was a mouthful already, but I wanted to get back to speaking the wisdom, the leadership, and the self-improvement. I want to continue to talk about that. That's my jam. You guys know that's my thing. It's what I'm passionate about. It's what I spend a lot of my time on, self-developing, practicing my leadership skills, reflecting, being a high-level observer of my own habits and things that I go through, and also being very observant and paying attention to what others go through, and speaking with my clients, my coworkers. I'm really observing all the time and collecting data, and it's giving me the tools I need to continue to deliver this wisdom on this podcast. So I really appreciate everyone who listens to this podcast and who supports this podcast. as I continue on and down this journey with you guys to continue to develop ourselves and our leadership skills within. Because at some point, those leadership skills you develop with me in this podcast and listening to some of this self-improvement as a man, as a woman, as a young kid, as an older person, these things will be needed. That leadership will be needed. And time can only tell when that leadership is needed. So I want you to be ready. I want you to be poised, and I want you to have some of these tools and perspective that I share with you in this podcast. So let's get into today's episode. I want to dive right into today's episode, and something that's really positive that's come out of me, obviously not recording the last few weeks or doing anything creative in the last few weeks. I've been able to really take a step back and listen more, observe more, rather than speak, write, share what I'm seeing, or comment on things or state my opinion. I really have been able to watch and learn more. I would say not recording and not doing some of the creative work that I'm used to doing, I'm actually able to learn more. I went into a bit of a learner's rabbit hole where I'm learning a bunch. I spent a lot of time learning about the blockchain, spent a bunch of time learning about finance, spent a bunch of time learning about the body, building a relationship with my clients, learning about them, just spending time learning. Like I would go down these long learning rabbit holes these last few weeks, and I've been able to really develop some new skills of learning and being able to understand what I'm learning. I even started a thing in my notes that says random thoughts, deep thinking, where things I learned that gets me in deep thought, I start writing things down. I start, writing down what I'm thinking, what's going through my mind, things that I don't want to forget. Say I, go through something and I forget something, I can reference back to these notes of me deep thinking, and I think it's pretty cool that I'm able to do that. And I'm going to actually share with you guys a note I have from May 6th of this month. So here's one these notes that I shared here. Bond with people who are stronger where you are weaker. And I started writing down some of the things that I'm strong at because I was reading something and I was going through all these thoughts like, what am I good at? What am I bad at? Or what am I strong at that I can use help at? Where will I excel? Where can I be of help? Where's my value? And what value can I seek out, right? So I started by saying, I am strong in pattern recognition. I'm strong in problem finding. I'm strong in problem solving. And I'm very strong in strategic problem solving and being able to sell it, right? So not only am I strong at looking at a bunch of data or looking at a situation and finding the underlying problem, I'm good at finding a strategy, a solution to that problem and being able to sell it to you, right? So there are people who are very skillful at solving problems or really good problem solvers, and they have conviction and they believe in their solutions, but they struggle selling it to you. They struggle convincing you that the solution works. They struggle presenting all the areas of the solution. They may struggle with the communication of the solution, right? They have this strong conviction, but they have trouble building a strong enough relationship to present these solutions to people. That's where I am strong. I'm able to take the information in the system you tell me and really find the underlying selling points and being able to sell it to you. So I'm a salesman at the end of the day. It's something I'm strong at. And I never want being a salesman to get a bad rap because you got to believe in what you're selling. And right now in my life, I sell health and fitness, and I believe in that wholeheartedly. So that's where I'm strong, and I wanted to share that I wrote that down. And at the same time, I wrote down that I can use a little bit of help with system building, system implementation, and behind the scenes operation, right? I know where I'm weak. I know that I'm not a great blueprint system builder, while I am great at finding the underlying problem, I'm not great at building the system, the actual system to operate the solution, right? I may be a little better with it for service-based businesses because I'm a trainer and I work in a service-based role. But there are a lot of underlying systems that make the whole strategy work, right? Where I can know the strategy, I'm confident I can build a strategy. I struggle with the operations of the system that is going to be the well-oiled system that helps the strategy come to life, right? It's hard to be a good salesperson if you're not selling a good system, right? And I realized that although I may be good at selling, I have to have help building the system to sell. And that's where my biggest area of opportunity lies in my skill set, right? So those are some just some notes I had from May 6th about random thoughts and personal development. And I say all that to you guys to share that this episode is about being a fly on the wall. It's about an ability to observe critically, like critically without inserting input, without having preconceived notions, without thinking you know it all. It's about being, attentive, like not missing when things are happening around you. Listen in on conversations, right? I'm a huge eavesdropper, right? Listen in on conversations. What are people talking about? What may interest you? What can you learn? What can you pull, right? When people are speaking, when people are communicating non-verbally, what can you pick up? Right? When someone is giving a speech or someone's telling somebody else something, what can you learn? What can you learn through your observation, through your eyes and your ears? And can you be that fly on the wall that's just there? It's not about being a presence everywhere you go, but it's about being present everywhere you go, right? And that's a big part of what makes me successful as a personal trainer is that when I'm working with my clients, I am 1,000% present in that moment, right? And while I'm still doing the coaching and I'm the one that's facilitating the coaching, I am observing very critically to everything my client is doing, from their nonverbals to their verbals to their just overall body language. I'm just that fly on the wall that's just looking and searching for areas of opportunity where I can improve our relationship, right? I told you guys before, I'm a strategic, I can't say the word. I'm a strategic problem finder, right? I'm looking for problems with someone. I'm looking for areas where I can produce more value. And once I'm able to find that value that I can produce for that client, I'm able to build a strategy for that solution, right? I've exposed the problem and now I've created the solution, and I work for a great company. I've been doing this for some time now. So I've been able to actually build a bit of a system, and I can sit that client down and sell it to them, or I can have that as a conversation we continuously have to keep my retention high with my clients. And this method of just being observant and finding that problem is being able to be that fly on the wall, right? Where is your attention when you're needed, right? Where's your attention when you're talking to someone? Where is your attention when someone is having a conversation about something around you that you may have interest in? Where's your attention when you're watching a show or reading a book or watching a YouTube video? Are you really listening in? Are you really taking in what they're saying? Are you looking for areas of wisdom and opportunity to go into a deeper rabbit hole, right? Rabbit holes are good, right? Being a fly on the wall is being able to hear something, read something, or discover something and go down these long paths of researching it, learning more about it, and discovering how you can use it, right? So being a fly on the wall is a very important part of self-development. It's an extremely important part of leadership. Is the ability to be able to listen and observe without providing any feedback. We're just taking it all in and building a strategic plan moving forward. Right? My focus number 2 about being a fly on the wall is when you're listening in or you're reading something and you're looking for something, you're not looking for the entire gold bar. You're not looking to strike gold with everything you listen to hear. You know, if you're watching a YouTube video, you're not looking for the best thing that the person says. You're not looking for the complete overlying issue that they're talking about. You're not looking for those things. What you're looking for instead of a big gold bar is just a small pebble of gold. You're looking for a very small piece of gold. You're not looking for the whole bar because the whole bar will make sense in that moment, but you'll forget it very quickly. You're looking for a small amount of gold in that conversation or that book or that video or that show. You're looking for a small amount that you can take with you and you can start implementing right away, or you can start researching right away, or you can start really learning about right away. All you need is a small amount of information to get yourself started. And that's what we're looking for as flies in a wall, right? There's been plenty of time where I've overheard some conversation and I hear something very small that catches my attention. If I'm hearing people talk about, let's keep it recent. I hear people talking about cryptocurrencies, right? I hear someone say something about Bitcoin and Ethereum. They may say Ethereum has X, Y, and Z usage case. And I hear something like Ethereum has smart contracts. And that's all I hear. That's all I hear in a conversation. What I then do is start doing my research on smart contracts. I start watching videos on smart contracts. I start maybe reading an article on smart contracts, right? The overlying thing is Ethereum, but the underlying thing is the smart contracts, right? And now I'm thinking about the blockchain network, and now I'm finding other small pebbles of gold as I go through my research. And when it's all said and done, you put all those pieces of gold together and you create your own gold bar, right? So that fly on the wall mentality will allow you to steal, collect, take everything you hear, you learn, you read, you see, you take it all and you make it one full strategy that you can implement going forward, right? And something that I say quite often that I have told my girlfriend a lot, and it makes sense as I get older, it's starting to make more sense. This statement of some things are not meant to be understood until we go through something that creates understanding, right? I said that maybe 2 years ago, and I understood back then what it meant. And I understand now more what it means. We may hear something, someone may say something to us, someone may drop some wisdom on us, drop a gem on us, and we understand it. We feel it in that moment. We agree with them. We connect with it. But we don't truly understand the concept of what they're saying, like the full context of what they're saying, until years later where we experience something and then we're like, oh shit, that's what my boy was talking about. Or, oh shit, that's what my mentor was talking about. Or that's what my friend was talking about. This is what they meant by this. And it clicks to you. Like it happens in a fucking instant. I know that happens to you guys, where you learn something or you read something, or you see something, and not until months, years later, does it really click. You know what I mean? And I think that's a huge part about just being able to be observant and listen, right? Just because the information you get today can't serve you today does not mean that down the road when you start really implementing your ideas, working on your projects, working on your brand, working on things, working in your career, those things may come back up. That one saying that someone said to you may come back up and it will all make sense that day, right? The intuition works that way. We will all experience that in our lives. So that idea of some things not meant to be understood until we go through something that creates understanding is the entire reason why I listen and learn so much without ever expecting to use anything right away. I'm just looking for nuggets. And some nuggets may be used in the short term, some nuggets may be used in the long term, but in some way, shape, or form, all the information I collect will be used in some way, somehow, even if it's used to give back to other people for them to do something with it, right? So I'm gonna close in on my focus number 3. And my focus number 3 is we all, as young leaders, young self-developing, self-sufficient leaders, we need to understand that information alone will not really help any of us, right? Knowledge is power. Certainly knowledge is power. Because not until you implement the knowledge, until you, by sharing it or using it or building something or creating a service, does that knowledge really become power. But I do agree that knowledge itself is a powerful thing to obtain, right? As a young black man who played sports his whole life, played football the whole life, I was always told that football was the way to create a better life for myself, for my family, for my circumstance, and overall how to do better in this generation. That's what I was told. That's what I was told when I was younger. That's what I was told when I was a teenager. That's what I was told before I went to college. So a lot of my energy and time went into playing sports, and thank God it did, right? Thank God I was able to do that and spend time with that. It afforded me a full scholarship. It gave me a lot of opportunities in life. So thank God I was able to experience that and be part of that for so many years. And I use it every day, and I appreciate the game of football, and you guys know that. But 2-3 years out of college now, I'm 26 now, graduated when I was 23, I'm starting to realize that there's a lot of things about this world that I did not know or understood back then. I'm being exposed to a lot more knowledge and information that blows my mind that I didn't know when I was younger. I'm just mind blown by how much I was not exposed to, right? Exposure leads to expansion. We know that, right? And football was a focus that teaches a lot of lessons, but there was not enough exposure to the world as itself. Therefore, there wasn't enough expansion into other things, right? So when I say knowledge is power, I've realized that there is knowledge that was kept from me that made me feel powerless, right? I felt powerless. Although I felt like I was a great football player, I felt powerless in other areas of life. And not until I was able to step away from the game officially, or the game stepped away from me, however you want to say it, did I start realizing that there's so much I don't freaking know. And since that moment, I realized that I started seeking information, learning information. I got blessed to be around some clients who are successful or whatever. They were able to do different things in their life, or they were fortunate to do certain things. They started telling me about money, finance, just overall like life stuff, life lessons, how to do this, how to do that. And I'm listening over and over. I hear how they carry themselves. I hear how they speak, how they talk, everything. I'm just collecting information, and I realize this knowledge that I'm learning now, this information that I'm learning now is so powerful. But at the same time, all that information I learned and that I'm learning means nothing. It means nothing, right? People die with information. Information means nothing. What matters is what we do with that information and how it helps people. Can we help people with the information we understand, right? Not the information we think we know, the information we understand. Because not until we're able to understand can we implement, can we share, can we provide value. There's no shortage of information. I've been saying that for a long time, right? There's no shortage of information. You got the internet. Everything is accessible. But what are we doing with this information? How are we sharing this information? It doesn't need to be fancy. We just need to do something with the information, right? Because even though we all have access to the same information, doesn't mean we all have the same knowledge base, right? Different people are able to understand different types of information on their own in their own way, right? Some information don't click for me the way it clicks for you, right? Some messages won't resonate with me the way it resonates to someone else. So when I say information alone won't help anyone, I am simply saying not until we're able to implement what we are learning and understand what we are learning and share with others does that information hold any true value, right? So to recap on everything, I want you guys and girls, excuse me, I want you to really start listening. Dig for information. Ask questions. Have conversations with people. Have meaningful conversations with people. And when you're having conversations about different topics, dig into those topics. If it interests you, ask more questions. Get people talking. Get them talking about things, right? I love talking to smart people. I love freaking talking to smart people, right? I am smart in my own right, but I love talking to like extremely smart people, right? Because they just tell you everything you need to know. And you're just asking questions. You collecting information. And if they don't know something, they'll go find that answer. If they don't know something, you both can talk through it. Like, we are here as humans to problem solve. Everyone's trying to problem solve over and over and over. That's how you get paid. You can solve problems, you can get paid, right? But we must start digging for more value, my leaders. We must start digging for that pebble of gold. We have to start using our ability to listen and to observe and to be that fly on the wall to our advantage. You know, growing up in a black household, we heard all the time, God gave you two ears and one mouth for a reason. And I didn't understand that back then, right? Goes back to my previous point. But I understand it now as an adult. We are blessed with two ears, meaning that we should listen more than we should speak. And we should hear more than we talk and things like that. And it makes so much sense now as an adult, as a young leader, as a young self-development, self-improving, personal growth enthusiast, as someone who spends a lot of his time working on personal growth. It makes sense, right? I have over 40 podcast episodes where I talk about this personal development, but I have over 10,000 hours listening, reading, observing, having conversations about personal growth before I even started with an episode, right? So our ability to be that fly on the wall, to be observant and to listen is our greatest superpower, and it's something we cannot underestimate. Thank you guys for tuning into another week of the Unnatural Born Leader podcast. I know this was a long one. Thank you for your continued support. I am still transitioning to moving in with my girlfriend. June 1st will be our official move-in date, and I hope to be recording a lot more content, a lot more podcast episodes in June and going forward. Just bear with me these next few weeks. If I don't put anything up, you can definitely expect an episode in about 2 weeks. I'm just really happy to still have this platform, really, whether it's growing at the pace that I previously wanted to grow at, or it's not many listeners or things like that, which is a good amount of listenership. But I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being a continued supporter. And I want you guys to know that everything I say on this podcast is truly what I feel. It's truly in the moment. It's truly how I feel today as of right now. And it's a real perspective on what I'm seeing, I'm observing, how I'm living. I'm a pretty private guy. I don't really share a lot about my personal life and things like that. But I want you guys to know that if I'm going to come on here and talk about this stuff, 40 episodes in, I'm living it. Every day I'm living it to some capacity, and I want you guys to know that. And anything you take away from this podcast, I really appreciate it. And if it helps your life and it helps your perspective, please share the podcast with someone that you may think may benefit from the podcast or can benefit from my style of delivery. So, like always, guys, thank you. And positivity is contagious. And like it's always been, attitude is everything. Have a good one, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.